All right, thank you. Our next item is an update on the Lower Dolington Road Trail project. As the board and township is aware, there have been significant delays with this project in regards to utility conflicts that have been experienced in the field, mainly pertaining to Newtown Artesian Water, and the main conflict being the Lumens fiber optic relocation. We've been working with them for the past year and a half in order for their relocation to occur, in order for us to move forward with the trail project. After several rounds of communication with Lumens, their timeline kept getting pushed back. So recently on Monday, we had a meeting with Lumens, with Mr. Mack and Mr. Lewis. They were able to provide us with a better update. I think they're able to go out to bid this week, hopefully, and within a few weeks that they'll be able to have construction started on their relocation of their fiber optic lines. So with that, we'll be able to have our contractor remobilize out there and continue on with the trail construction. I'm happy to answer any questions on that update. I know there have been some recent concerns regarding the barrels that are out there now. I have a call into the contractor right before this meeting for them to take a look and confirm the location of those, and to make sure that they're in a neat and tidy fashion in the areas that they need to be, and then we'll confirm that out in the field tomorrow.
Of course, thank you for inviting me to that meeting. It was very enlightening. I think your co-worker summed it up. We're not in a happy place with us, and I was quite surprised by Lumens. They want to do a really big project where they had to raise $500,000 to relocate 15,000 feet of cable. I'm not sure where all of this relocation is going to be, but I want to thank RVE for telling them that we would like to have priority in the, 400 feet
Yep.
of cable that needs to be removed for us to continue the project. I really don't care about that 15,000 feet. And so I hope, I know we came out of that meeting where you asked them to come forward with a more definitive timeline. They gave some kind of timeline of 2 to 3 weeks. They're going to put this out to bid. Fortunately, it's not the same as when a township puts something out to bid. They could get the contractor maybe within 3 weeks, and then maybe another 2 to 3 weeks to start the project, or so it's going to take a couple of months before even they move that cable. Until we see their definitive timeline, we don't know for sure how long it's going to take. I think you can confirm that. Meanwhile, the netting and barrels are still there. I think I submitted the photos I took today showing the netting impinging, or I don't know if that's the right word, but being wrapped around the private property, private landscaping of the Raintree development. And I know that a couple of residents from that development have said, should we be able to go and remove that stuff ourselves if it's on our private property? So residents are getting really a little bit up in arms, I might say, about this, and it's totally unnecessary in my view to have that netting the way it is. So I don't know who's going to come out to take a look at that from the contractor, but when was that going to happen, do you think?
I notified the contractor as soon as you sent me the email to remove the barricade and push it off of that landscaping. Basically, just to summarize, the right-of-way line it's very close to where that is, so I could see where there could have been the idea of where that right-of-way is. It sort of goes in between where that Raintree sign is, it splits it. So we're just looking to confirm that. I can have someone in the field tomorrow to confirm that right-of-way line, and then we can have the contractor move it accordingly.
But that netting over there is completely unnecessary. nobody walks in the landscaping. There's a sidewalk there, and there's a ramp for ADA ramp to allow access to the intersection by walkers. And those things are in the way of them, there's lots of overgrown grass. These are things that residents there are complaining about. And just to move it away from that one bush, it's not really going to solve the problem. I think most of that construction material there is not necessary. Now, you also told me at one point that in the contract, the construction company is supposed to leave the site clean. I'm not sure what the exact wording is. So they're willing to come out and do this without charging us for it?
They are willing to maintain the barrels as part of the contract, yes. There was discussion about removal of these barrels. There would be some backfilling that would be needed to happen around the ADA ramps to ensure that there's no tripping hazards and things of that nature before they're removed. That would be an additional cost because that wasn't included in the contract.
Okay, I don't fully understand that, but how could somebody be there to verify what these jokers are saying needs to be done and doesn't need to be done with regard to backfilling and what needs to be removed and what doesn't need to be removed?
Well, Ms. Mack, I think our engineer has said that she sent somebody out.
Who are you sending out?
We have field inspectors that are able to look at that, and the public works director also looked at that and made that determination as well. So we want to make sure that everything is in a safe fashion before those barrels are removed. So we're talking with the contractor. I'll have someone out there tomorrow to take a look at it, and I will let you know of how we're proceeding with that.
If it's possible to put me in an email as well, it would be great.
I don't mean to cast blame on anybody, but how did this go so wrong for so long without Lumens knowing that they had underground cable there? I just don't understand.
Yeah, so we knew Lumens cable was there. They knew it was there. They promised a relocation date of prior to our start. So, we started our project and they said, hey, we're gonna be done. They applied for township permits even, they got to that point, and unfortunately they delayed. So that unfortunately delayed this project.
So they were supposed to have it done before we started.
Correct.
Of course, that makes sense.
Yep.
But we did not know that they had not moved it when the work started then.
No, there were other portions of the trail that could be completed, so that's what we moved forward with Lumen's schedule saying that they were going to, relocate by the end of last year. So we were completing what we could to stay on our schedule with the township project, and then they delayed their schedule, so unfortunately that.
At some point, the workers cut into an underground cable, and they actually went to a neighbor and they confirmed with that neighbor, did we cut off your power or TV or whatever the heck it was? Fortunately, that cable was not being used for anything, but that is when work stopped, I believe.
I guess we don't know.
I don't think that's entirely accurate. That was an abandoned Comcast line was what they had dug into.
Well, that cable is still sticking out of the ground, so they didn't do anything after that to clean up the site. In other words, they didn't fulfill their contract of leaving the site clean. We got a cable sticking up out of the ground there. Yes, there's netting around it, but there's a hill of dirt, and it's not a clean site. So I think they're in a breach of their contract, if you were to ask me.
And if we feel that we need to take action, I'm sure we could, at some point, if we need to, take.
Yes, we need to right now, is what I think.
Well,
Is that the only place, is that the only spot where we've encountered this problem? Is that the only spot on the whole trail that we are responsible for, the Newtown portion?
In regards to the Lumens locations, or
Yes, as far as that.
that fiber optic line is present from Frost Lane to Everett. That's where,
And they haven't had to move it at any other point but this.
no, not because there hasn't been a project. So this project triggered their relocation
Okay,
at the request of us for this project.
okay. Thank you.
okay.
I do agree with Mr. Mack, and Mr. Fisher, we have to, do something to hold their feet to the fire to get this done.
Understood.
Okay, and I clearly hear that you're in favor of that too, you know, in terms of moving things along as quickly as possible.
Well, it looks like there are 6 feet that have to be held to the fire. The construction company, Lumens, and Newtown Artesian, which you said also gave you incorrect information that wasn't good for the project. So, you know, there's a lot of feet that have to be held to the fire here.